Hi guys, my name is Victor Rincon. I am an ESOL teacher here in the Wichita Public Schools. I currently teach at Wichita High School East. Um, Anyhow, a little bit about myself. This is my seventh year teaching, and I am actually on my last semester from Fort Hays. So I'm very excited to graduate in December, and very excited to work really hard this semester and get that done. Some extra responsibilities about myself. Well, I currently do lunch duty. I'm in charge of the suspension room, and so all the kids they get assigned lunch suspension. They basically take their entire lunch, and I help supervise that. Some other things that I do, I'm currently working on my internship. I'm starting my second year doing my internship. And so this has been a very big learning experience for me. And I've been doing a lot of stuff from working in the offices to supervising athletics to doing planning and organizing different events that we have currently within our school. And so it's been a great, rewarding experience being involved with that. Who is one of my biggest influences? So when I thought about this question, I kind of thought about my mom. She's always been a huge, big influence on me, especially because she's always pushed me to go to school and do something with my life, and she's always believed in me. And so honestly, she would be the one that I would say would be the biggest influence, and that would be the reason why. And so I did take that quiz, and so here are my results. So I'm going to change the camera real quick. Okay, so here are my results for my personality quiz. And so I put it onto Google Docs. I was actually very interested that I actually came out with these scores. I felt like I was very high in most of the categories when it came to extroversion, emotional stability, agreeableness, and so on. And so I just kind of felt I was actually really wasn't surprised by the scores. As I was kind of digging deeper into the traits, I looked at like factor one, very outgoing and social. I highlighted that because that's who I am. I'm very outgoing and I like to talk to people and I like to check in and see how they're doing. And so for me, that was definitely a no-brainer for me. As for emotional stability, I'm very emotionally stable. A lot of people usually come to me for emotional support, and I usually just listen. And so I'm a very good listener also. And I think a lot of people feel safe and comfortable to come to me when they have a certain situation or they're going through something. As for agreeableness, I really thought friendly and optimistic really stood out to me. That's definitely part of who I am. I've always been a very friendly person. I've always been that person that, if you have something going on, just come talk to me. My door is always open. And that's just kind of how I plan to be when I become a building principal, is just have my doors open all the time so that if you have something going on, you can just come and talk to me. Um, as for factor five, careful and diligent. When it comes to specific things, I'm very careful. I'm very careful about certain situations, how they're handled. And so, and I'm very diligent. I like to get things done. And so I'm definitely not disorganized. I don't like to be disorganized. And so I try, there was a little bit about impulsiveness. I mean, I do have, when it comes to buying stuff, I can kind of do things out of an impulse. But for the most part, I usually try to think about it before I do something, or try to think about what are the consequences or what's going to happen down the road so that I know um, how I'm going to deal with that situation. And then finally, the last one talked about openness to experience. I'm very open. I'm basically like an open book. So like I tell my students, anything they asked, I like to try new things. I like to explore. I like to, change it up. And so I'm very flexible when it comes to the openness of me in experiences. And so when I chose the two types of leadership theories, I definitely fell under the category democratic leadership theory. And this one, they kind of talk about being open and collegial style to running a team. Ideas move freely among the group, discussed openly, and everyone is given a seat at the table. And so I just kind of thought this is always how I've always been. I'm very open. I'm very about collaboration, working together, solving problems together. And so this one obviously was the one that stood out to me the most. As I was reading pros and cons about it, it is often has solution for complex problems, and so I think that is a good thing, especially when you work with a team you guys can work together to basically solve big issues within the school. It promotes a creative environment and builds strong teams. I looked at the cons too, and it's very time consuming. I think when you're asking for everyone's opinion in a certain thing, I can see why that would be an issue. It takes long to process decisions, and leaders can become indecisive in certain situations, especially during a crisis. And I definitely have had an experience when I was acting assistant principal within my school. I had a situation where definitely an emergency situation, and I was able to relate with that last one. Some notable examples: Barack Obama, George Washington, Abraham Lincoln. Some companies that they shared that I found: Google, Amazon, and Twitter. The second one was situational leadership theory. I really thought this one was my other one that I found very interesting. I like that. I like that it's flexible. I like that it suggests that no single leadership style is best. Because I kind of agree with it. As I was going through all the different leadership styles, I found it very fascinating because I was able to connect with each one of them. And this one really stood out to me because of the flexibility and how it recognizes different circumstances. And depending on the circumstance, is how you're going to handle the situation or the strategy or what you're going to do. Or when you're working with different people, I've always been like, some people you have to be on them, and then some people you can just easily let them fly, and then some of them, I mean, everybody's different, and so this one really stood out to me as the second option. Pros, definitely there's flexibility. It's simple to understand, and it replaces the relationship between the manager and the employee at the center of the management experience. Some cons about it: there's an emphasis on immediate needs. They're definitely don't, it doesn't look towards future company plans or future school plans, and so it's very easy to get stuck in the moment. And so definitely that stood out to me. Some notable examples: Dwight D. Eisenhower, Pat Summitt, John Wooden, Adobe, Blue Cross Blue Shield, and the company WD-40 were all some notable examples of that type of leadership style. As for my results, I actually agreed with a lot of my results. I felt like that definitely was me when it came to my type of leadership style, even when in the classroom. But like I said, there were so many of them that I was able to relate with as I was going through each of those different theories. And as for my results and how they compared, it didn't really surprise me. And so I really enjoyed taking that quiz, and it just reassured what I know about myself already. And so anyhow, I made this video too long already, so I look forward to working with you guys this semester, and let's get started.